All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. And I got a special guest, Hemati, on with us today. Eric, good to have you. Don't let that applause distract your driving, dude. What we don't want, I mean, you're way too productive, and I already started liking you way too much to have you dying on us while we're doing the podcast. So if you can somewhat stay focused on the road. But and I love that. You know, the thing is this, when you know you've got a busy schedule, it's when you're having to do the podcast on the road. So Eric's like, hey, do you mind? I'm like, dude, no, you got stuff going on. He's got luncheons and meetings and stuff like that. That's how you grow this thing. In fact, I wouldn't think of anything other than what you're doing is driving to a meeting, because Eric, in the last like 12 months, dude, you've exploded. You've absolutely exploded the business. You're doing is it $1 million a month now?
Yeah. Well, our biggest month was April, 1.8 million. And then we followed that up with one and a half in May and another 1.5 in June. So
$1.5 million in issue paid business, and he did it in like 12 months. And so for anybody on here that's thinking like, man, I'm just getting started. Did I miss the boat? You know, what I've always said is, man, if you would have started about 3-4 years ago, you would have looked for a bunch of anchors, you'd tied around your ankles, and you'd have jumped off the boat. What happened to Bob? He started at the wrong time. So Eric, right now is the time. So anybody coming on board, I would venture to say if Eric did it in 12 months, the timing you're in now, you might be able to do it in 9 months. And that's pretty exciting to think of what you can build and the speed to which you could build it. Now, let me just kind of preface the call with this. We're going to get into some of the pitfalls, the pratfalls, the things that could hang you up, the weights that are on somebody as they're trying to move forward, and how do you let go of those weights, and how do you build something fast? The reality is this: if you're going to have great success at a fast speed, oh, dude, you're going to mess some stuff up, bro. You know what I mean? The person that took 15 years to get there, they might not have a bunch of bumps and bruises and things like that. But dude, if you're running at that kind of speed, oh, you got some things to say, hey, don't step here, do this, don't do this. And that's what we're going to get into today, guys. And so what I do want to tell you is this, before we get into it, is make sure to subscribe. So we are notified of all the content that we get out. I mean, every single week I sit back and think, how can I best serve you? And believe me, guys, buckle up, you know, get a pen and a piece of paper. This is going to feed you well today. Make sure to also like it, comment. Every single week we do a drawing, and you can win $250 in lead credit. And so Casey, the behind the camera, he does it every single week, and does a good job in hitting that algorithm that pops up the name and the winner. And so we've seen that work great for people to go out there and they say, hey man, I wrote 5,000 off those leads. And so the goal is to be involved, and so that way we can tee you up and ensure you have a big week. So with that said, Eric, if you can kind of kick it off, man, and talk about if you're going back 12 months from now.
Hey, I lost your audio.
Am I coming in now?
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Okay. So 12 months ago, you're getting started. You know, what you know now, right? You're now in this spot where you've got up to $1.5 million, but you're going back to day one, and you're talking to Eric that's just getting started with Family First Life. What are some of the things that you say, hey, don't do this, and make sure to watch out for this, or don't think of it this way? Because I just know that for me, a lot of times what I think is isn't, and what I think isn't is. And I only kind of understand that typically looking back through hindsight. So if you can kind of talk about that, man. You're talking to Eric day one. What are you telling yourself, man? What are some things you want to step over?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and I will say this too, like I made a lot more mistakes in my career before I came here. I've been in the business for I got my license in 2003, so whatever that is, 18 years of, you know, and when I came here, a lot of people are like, man, how did you do it that fast? And a lot of it is just because I didn't have to repeat all the same mistakes that I'd made prior. It's like, okay, now that I know that, I can do this. But I will say one of the biggest mistakes that I made after coming here is not understanding really the power of the comp plan. So, I mean, I was excited about when I came here. I had an 80% commission where I came from, which took me 17 years to get to. and I was real proud of that. And here I was like, wow, they start people at 90. Like you could be a barista or an Uber driver and start at 90. That's crazy. But I mean, I understood that it was more, but I didn't understand what a nuclear weapon it actually is. And so if and I'll tell you what I mean here, so you guys can maybe take it away for yourself. But like high comp in most other companies, like high comp is 100, 105, maybe a 110. There's a guy here in Austin who runs it's what I call like a crotchety old man contract. It's like you've been in the insurance business for 20 years and you know what you're doing. You're grumpy. You hate your boss. You don't like your manager. You don't want to show up for any conference calls. You don't need any training. You know everything. You've seen it, been there, done that. You don't need anybody telling you what to do. You just want a super high commission and be left completely alone, right? And this guy here in Austin, he offers this contract, that exact contract, to people from all over the country. There's no hierarchy. There's one level, and that's you are direct to him. And the whole premise is he's going to do absolutely nothing for you, right?
Yep.
And that comp is comparable to our 115. Like that's what that is. And so no matter what level you're starting at, if you're at a 90 or 95, 100, 105, whatever, just know that like by the time that you get to a 115, which I think you can get to that on your personal sales, just doing 15 grand a month of personal production, I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 20,000 tops, right? You can get to a 115. When you're at a 115, you can literally you could go make somebody's situation better who's selling insurance anywhere else. I mean, really anywhere, when you get to a 120 on our comp plan, that's basically like golden handcuffs. Now I can give away the 115s that this guy locally has given away to people who have been in the business for decades. Right. And I just didn't understand that. So I was using the comp plan going after the same type of people I used to go and recruit on a 30% commission or a 40% commission. And I was trying to sell the opportunity and how great it is. And man, instead of a 30%, we can start you at 100% or whatever the number is. Right. But I was recruiting and not look, everybody deserves to be here for sure. Everybody. Okay. If you're in the insurance business and you're not working here, you are 100% welcome. I don't care what level you're at. Even if you're not in the insurance business, get over here. It's good. Right. But what I realized was the comp plan that we actually have is a nuclear weapon. I can go after agency owners, people that own agencies and move their whole teams over here. I can and even if they don't want to come full-time, you've got a financial planning practice, you've got, you're a property casualty agent, but you want to sell more life insurance. As long as you're willing to buy leads, I can I'm not with somebody that doesn't want to buy leads, first of all, because that's a waste of everybody's time. But as long as you want to buy leads, as long as you'll commit to a lead budget, dude, let me help you sell some life insurance and make some extra money in that practice. What would your practice look like if you could pull in an extra 10, 15, 20 grand a week, or a month or whatever the case may be? And it just opens up these huge doors of opportunity. And it took me a few months to figure it out, So for those first few months, yeah, I was recruiting a lot, but I was actually working recruiting. And what I realized after I figured out how the comp plan worked, especially the bonus, is now I don't spend any time in recruiting. Now it's just just educate people on what we do, and they'll flock over here.
Right. I love that, dude.
So that's my biggest.
That's a big
takeaway I can give you guys.
Hemati, think about this, dude. When I understood this, I was like, this is gold. And what I figured out was there's really two different ways a company's structured and set up. You got IMO one, where they're just basically going to give you the highest comp they could possibly give you, right? They're like an aggregator. They just hey, come on here, I'll give you a high comp. They're just giving out contracts, but there's no training support. You can't build anything there. You can't say, hey, come join XYZ company. There's no marketing, nothing. They're just giving you a contract. And you can say, well, that's great because I get a high comp. Then you got these other IMOs where they start you at 25, 35, 45%. And they're like, but we give you training, but we have great culture, but we got good systems,
right.
But we can
mentorship.
Exactly. And when you have family first life, it's taken the best of both worlds and blended it together. It's taken the highest comp that you could ever get in the industry, these IMO owner type comps, and also put it in place where you've got the training, the support, the culture that, is second to none, where people just come on board and they believe they can write, 20 grand right away. They believe they can build a business right away. They believe that anybody can do this. And so all that stuff's been blended together. And see, the thing is this, when I figured that out, Eric, just like you, I realized that my goal then is just to expose as many people to the family first life opportunity out there and then let the system and training do its work because it's already that good. It's kind of like if I was going to recruit for Alabama, you know how I do it, Eric? Alabama football. I'd say, hey, so it works like this. You could either play for Alabama, watch us win a championship, or you could play for somebody else and watch us win a championship. How's that? And that'd be my recruiting.
Yeah. Help us win or watch us win. I love it.
Exactly. I mean, because dude, what are you gonna do? Like, we win. Look, and so their recruiting is not that deep because their track record shows that. And so if that's the case, then the goal should be, how can I expose more people to Family First Life? What kind of marketing can I do on Instagram? What kind of marketing can I do on TikTok? What kind of marketing can I do on Facebook? How can I just let people know about Family First Life? Because my warm market, the people that are in my network, my sphere of influence, man, it's different than everybody else's. It's different than yours. It's different than Bob that's watching this. It's different than everybody. So if you start to post, all of a sudden you're starting to expose people that never would be exposed. And now they get moving and they start to see success that they maybe never would have seen if you didn't just share that simple post. And that's why I say, hey, every week guys, share this video on social media, because somebody that might be just on their hands and knees praying to God for something different. Like, man, can I just get an opportunity? I want to have more time with my family. I want to be able to not have to worry about the budget and doing this or doing that. I want to be able to create memories and have the money to go do it. Those people might be looking, but if you don't expose them to it, they never see it. And so it's that simple. Yep. Let the system do its work and just recruit by exposing people to Family First Life, the content, the podcast, the marketing, it's all going to do its work. And so, man, I absolutely love that. Anything you want to kind of tie to that, Eric, or if not, I got another question that I got.
Well, yeah. So right before you ask your next question, I'll just say the other thing is just like, keep it simple. Like, I mean, I see a lot of people recruiting, and the way I used to recruit was like, oh, let me tell you about the opportunity, and here's what we can do, and you have all this comp and blah, 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 blah. And here's what your future could look like, right? Which is, that works. But what's way more accessible for people is, dude, how would you like to make $1,000 a day? Because that's what our agents make, and they sell just one policy out there on a work day. So you set 7 appointments, get stood up for 6. One of them sits down with you and buys a policy. You just made $1,000 for the day. Would that change your situation at all? And if it does, well, let's talk about it, right? And just keep it simple for people. Is just like it's accessible. It's easy for them to get their arms around. The other thing is like the stuff that you're sharing. And I see a lot of people sharing like 140 comp, all this stuff. The average person doesn't know what that means. Like, yeah, it makes sense to the insurance person. It's like, oh, okay, 140, that caught my attention. But the average person doesn't know. I mean, they don't know whether 8%, 12%, 30, 50, 150, what is that? I don't even understand, right? Yeah. But what they do understand is good news. So when you share like, hey, I have a new agent, she just helped this family and she was able to make $1,500 yesterday, right? Hey, I had this agent and she was, came from this background. She's used to making $3,000 a month. She just made $3,000 on a Saturday. Like those kind of stories, people are like, oh, I'm interested. Well, how does she do that? Right. So, and it's always about somebody else, not me. Like nobody, once you get to be, a big, even a sales manager or senior sales manager with us, you're doing $100,000 a month as a team, people have lost interest in you and how much money you're making. Like nobody cares what Eric Hemati's 1099 looks like or how much money I made last month. Cause it's like, dude, that guy's doing $1 million a month. Like we'll never be like him or whatever the case may be. But they sure as hell care about, Sarah over here, who it's her first week and she was just able to make $2,200 over the weekend. They're very curious about that. Right. So that's my 2 cents for that, is just keep it accessible for people.
I love that, dude. And it's fair to say, Eric, that anybody can do that. So you don't have to be the person,
anyone
that's out writing 40, 50,000 a month that says, hey, look at my commission statement. Look at this. You just share everybody else's good news. And we've seen a lot of groups, Eric, that, dude, they're not even out of class yet. They're in licensing. All they simply do is they go on the Facebook group pages, and we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agents every month that write 20K plus, and they'll take a screenshot of somebody that posted about their agent that they hired that wrote 20 grand for the first time, and they'll share it. They'll say, hey, congratulations, Bob, on writing 20,000 your first month and being brand new as Family First Life. So exciting to work with a company that gives anybody a shot to see fast success. If your work, you get paid well. And they just put that out there. Now, consistency is everything. Like if you do it one time, they're like, what is Hemati talking about? And then they don't see it again. They think you're a creep. Like, is this dude, he's a creep. What is he doing? He's over here, he's over here, now he's over there. But if you do it consistently over and over and over again, then you start to become known as like this source that provides good news, possible hope, where somebody can grab onto and say, hey, I can now have hope that I can do this. I mean, there's too much good going on. I got to give it a shot. And that's all the goal is just sharing good news. And then if you're going to share a commission statement as you get going, that is powerful for some people that are really close to you, and just package it right. Like, hey, honored to be able to work for a company where our service makes such a difference. Helped a couple families this week get peace of mind financially if anything ever happens, and was able to get paid $3,000 by doing that. So blessed, so grateful, only the beginning. Stuff like that makes a difference. But if it's done over and over again, you'll start to get messages. And the thing is this, there's not many businesses where as you do that, you're giving somebody a true shot of seeing success. Now, I do believe, Eric, that the best recruiters and people building a big business, they're the most convicted that this is the best opportunity out there. And if you've not yet got that, that's the missing ingredient. It's kind of like if you're brand new, how do you become really good at selling when you don't know a whole lot? Well, caring trumps competency. So you can build that competence over a period of time through calls, podcasts, experiences, reflecting on your experience, tweaking, adjusting, getting more in alignment with the ones that are seeing great success. But how you succeed fast is simply caring about the client, like going in and believing that what you're getting ready to do for them, it trumps anything else. So there's nothing more important than having life insurance for their family and seeing what it's going to look like if Bob doesn't come home, and going through all that. And when you step in, if your heart is there, your eyes will be there. And if your eyes will be there, you're going to help them. With recruiting, it's the same way. If you go reach out to people or talk to people, and you're so convicted that what you're doing is giving them a shot that they may never have to see success, and you build that up by watching podcasts, looking at leaderboards, hearing success stories, when you go into it, it's not going to be where you throw up all over them. You're going to be postured in such a way where it's just like, hey, this is a great shot for anybody if you're willing to work, but you've got to do the work. And you'll package things the right way, because it's not about you building a business for you. It's about you giving a shot for them. And that makes all the difference in the world. All right. So I love that, dude.
Yeah. And I'd add on that, like, and it's true whether you're selling or you're recruiting, but like, think about that sales scenario. Like, I mean, I've sat down in thousands of homes at thousands of kitchen tables and real policies. And, did they believe in the product? Probably. Right. But what I know they believed in was that I was going to deliver for them. Right. Like, and this is for like new agents out there. You may not be the most like product knowledgeable. I mean, you're just getting started, whatever the case may be. But like, I know for a fact that if I write you a policy and you've got a death benefit in place or a living benefit or whatever the case may be, and I'm going to give you my cell phone number. If something goes sideways for your family, you call this number. Don't call the company. You call me, and I will go to bat for you and make sure you get paid what you deserve to get paid under that policy. I'm your guy, right? And I have my certainty that I'm that guy for that family is through the roof, because I mean, it's up to me. So like, if I'm not, then there's only one person, you know what I mean? And every single person watching this podcast can make that decision that you're going to be the one for that family. And when you make that,
though, Hemati, that, when somebody's getting started and they've not yet gone out there and helped a family yet, where do they borrow the confidence from that they are the person that's going to be there for them?
Well, just ask yourself, okay, if you're watching this video and you're that person and you're like, hey, where do I get that? Just ask yourself, if you help a family apply, they get insurance and they call you and Uncle John just passed away and now they need that death benefit. Are you going to do what it takes to call the carrier and help them get paid? Are you? I mean, I can't answer that for you. I mean, but that's not a confidence question. That's just like, is that part of your job or not? And of course it is. I think as an agent, I'm not going to staff that out. I'm going to take care of that. Right. I want that. Just make that decision. I'm going to be the one to take care of this family. That has nothing to do with the confidence of the product or the family first life or your upline or your downline or anything. That's just you. Are you going to be that one? And I think most people watching this video would be like, well, hell yeah, I'll be that one for that family. Right. Like, I think everybody that works here cares about people and wants to serve. So it's like, just make that decision first, that they're doing business with you. I'm your guy. I'm your gal. I'm the one. If you do business with me, so I don't work for any of these companies. I work for you. If I help you find a coverage and I get you underwritten and we're going to get you covered with something you can afford, and believe me, I'm designing this to where I'm not going to put anything in front of you that's going to take food off your table. So if you decide to do business with this company, you're not just doing business with this company, you're doing business with me, and I will be the one to take care of you guys. Right.
That's good.
So same thing when you're recruiting. Right. So if I'm bringing on somebody in my team, like, I don't know, hey, I might not know this. I might not know that. I might have only been here for 3 months, a year, 6 months, whatever the case may be. I'm not as flashy as this person or as driven as that person or well-dressed as this person. But I know one thing is I'm 100% committed that the people that I bring on board get my very best, right? And I will 100% go to bat for you. As long as you're putting in the work, man, and you're putting in the effort, right? Like, I will go to bat for you, okay? Every time. Sometimes I got to go to bat for you with you, right? But at the end of the day, like I'm your guy. You come work with me. You're on my team. I will do that. I'm not going to I can't do your push-ups for you, right? But I can put you on a program. I can encourage you. I can like walk alongside you. I'll get you the resources you need to get through whatever it is you're getting through. At the end of the day, you got my cell phone number. I'm the one. Call me, right? And I think that's a big difference between. I mean, and I hear people all the time. It's like, oh, I applied to that company. Nobody called me back. Somebody said, oh yeah, I'll hire you. And then gave me some email and never followed up. Like, that's not the way you build a big business. That's the way you waste a lot of your time. So stop doing that.
That's
Make
great.
a decision that every person that comes into your sphere of influence, like, either get committed to helping them level up their life or get out of the way for somebody else who will.
Dude, that might be one of the biggest tips on here. So it's just stepping back and saying, are you the person that's going to find the solution, that's going to follow through? You don't have to know everything, but are you just committed to serving that person? And I think that's most of it, man. When you go in there, if you believe that, then everything you say, it's going to come from that platform of, I'm going to be here for you. I'm the guy that you can bet on. I don't know everything, but I'll follow through. And see, this is a thing that, as you're speaking about that, Eric, I think back to when I got started with Family First Life, and Sean Mike came on board and he's like, man, this is where we're going to go. This is what it's going to look like. This is what I'm going to do. And he didn't have all the answers, but what I did trust was that he would never let me down. I did trust that what he said, it would come to pass. I did trust that what he stood for, he would not fall on, like he was going to see it through, and that he cared about me. And so I think that's what everybody's looking for. Do you care about me? Can I trust you? And can you show me the way forward? Can I do this? Those are like the 4 things they're wondering. Do you care about me? Can I trust you? Can you show me how to do this? And can I do it? Those are the things. And I remember as you're talking, I'm thinking about the startup of Family First Life and Sean not having all the answers. I mean, you look at it today. Well, today's just, a result of all these different mistakes and mess ups that we had to step through and walk through on the building of Family First Life, not having carriers and then having leads. And we had one vendor that the mail house burned down. And then we had the other vendors that they didn't trust that we were going to come through because we had no reputation with them. And so we had to mail drop and wait for them to come back. And then we had another, vendor that they dropped way too many. We all had to take the leads that came in. So I wanted 10 a week. I got 200 a week, for 5 weeks straight. Like, this is great. I got $10,000 a week in lead bill, but all that stuff happened. But the thing is this, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't probably how I expected it to happen. But the reality is I never lost faith in Sean and where he was going. I always knew that he would figure it out and I could follow him and that he was going to lead me to the right direction of where I wanted to go. And that's what you're talking about, Eric. You're talking about being that person. You're not going to have all the answers. Stuff will get messed up. It ain't going to be perfect, but I'll always be here. I'm always going to see it through. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to come through for you. And that's a big, big deal. So I love that, man. All right, let's step into the next thing. Give me, let's do this because you've been in the business for a while. And so before you joined FFL, I know there was quite a few, maybe pitfalls that you'd stepped over or stepped in, or a landmine that took off a leg. Let's talk about that. What's a big thing that you learned before you joined the company, just being in the industry? Because I know you've worked for a prior company that I kind of worked for as well. And some of that learning and growing took place prior. But what's one of the big things you learned before you joined FFL?
Yeah, I think you touched on it a minute ago, man. It's just I had prior to this, for the first half of my career in the insurance business, I was very inconsistent, and I didn't. People preached consistency at me all the time, and I would always be like, "Yeah, consistency for people that don't have any talent." Like I actually got pretty good at this. I can turn this on and off whenever I feel like it. And I'm going to go and sell a bunch of insurance, make a bunch of money, and then take a few weeks off because I deserve it, or, hey, I recruited a couple of guys and they're out killing it. So now I don't have to work so hard, so I can take some time off. Right. And then of course, those people lose respect for you. And then you don't have a team anymore because, they're not here. Now I got to start all over. And all of those things, and also just having a lack of clarity about what the business is about, And so, first I was like, when I first got in the business, we sold literally door to door. We didn't even have leads. So it was like, hey, I just, go knock this residential neighborhood, sit down at people's kitchen tables and try to sell them some insurance. Right. And then it was like, well, maybe it would be better if I sold to businesses, And so I figured that out. And it was like, well, maybe it'd be better if I sold to big businesses. You sell to employee groups. I figured that out. And it's like, maybe it'd be good if I recruited a team, but then like, how do I teach this person how to do that and it's just like, at the end of the day, like Sean, what makes Sean so great. And I've borrowed so much from him since coming here. Cause he's just, every now and then you run across somebody like what's that guy's name? Wallace, right? In Braveheart, right? And where it's just like somebody who just like totally cuts through the crap and just sees and is convicted about what needs to happen. Like, Wallace just knew, look, Scotland needs to be free. At the end of the day, I don't care how, I don't care what, but like, we're going to be a free country, right? And or I'm going to die trying. And at the end of the day, like, and that's what Sean is like, look, at the end of the day, man, we're here to make agents wealthy. He says it all the time. Like, we're going to create more millionaires than any other company's ever created. Well, how do you do that? Well, you do that by doing one thing and doing it well. And that's focusing 100% on the agent and the agent's success. So my success as a team leader is second to my agent's success, right? My agent's success is a primary thing 100% all the time. And so minimize what the business is about. The business is about serving families and moving premium. That's it. And whether I move the premium at a kitchen table or an office table, on the back of a pickup truck, or in a business, or to employees, or whatever, or a referral, or I bought it off a lead, doesn't matter. I'm just here to move premium, right? And so get good at moving premium, and then start working smarter, get referrals, do all the things that you do to grow as an insurance agent, but always keep the business simple. It's about moving premium, protecting families, and then, and then translate that to your people. And so that was one thing I was terrible about in the early in my career is I overcomplicated everything. It was like, well, this is how you sell to a person in their house. And this is how you sell to an Aggie. And this is how you sell to a UT fan. And this is how you sell to somebody in California. And man, people in New York are different. You got to sell to them this way. And I had like scripts and models for everything. I wrote out all this stuff because I love sales training. And I know you do too. I love listening to your stuff. And it's like, you can get into all the technical details and see what I did there, see what I did here. And it confuses the crap out of people. And the truth is, people buy insurance from people they trust and who they believe in. That's it. So just be that person that's trustworthy and they can believe in, and then help that family get covered. That's it. That's it. Forget every technique you've ever learned and just go do that. And you'll build a big business. And anytime you're not being effective, look at yourself. You're being inauthentic or you're not being congruent with what that family needs. That's it. And same thing with your agents. Hey, I can't get through to this agent. He won't do this. He won't do that. She won't do this. She won't do that. Well, do they know that your mission is to help them do better? It's a failure of communication. It's always my failure of communication, not theirs. As long as it's my failure of communication, I can do something about it. So take responsibility and then take action and change something. If it's not working, change it, So anyway, those are.
Hey, the funny thing, Hemati, is, I did that 8 steps to success video a couple years back, right? On the final expense in home. And it was probably about a year and a half ago. My daughter, I was in the office, at my home office. It was like 8:30 at night. She said, Dad, what are you doing? I said, I'm allocating these leads. So we had some leads that came in that had rolled. And so I was like, I'm allocating these. She's like, what's a lead? So I'm explaining to her the business, what a lead is. And I said, do you want me to call one? She said, yeah, call one. So I called it up and I booked the appointment. It was with Greg and Gretchen. And I booked the appointment out in San Bernardino. And so it's like 45 minutes away. I booked for the next day. I'm saying, I'll just give it to an agent. And then, my daughter's like, why don't you just go help the family, Dad? And I was like, all right. So I made a decision. I was like, I'm going to go out there and help the family. Now it's been, a year and a half since I've been, in the home. And so I drove up to the client's house. I get in there and I start going through everything. And dude, I'm like, 3 minutes in and I'm trying to think like, what the heck's the next step of the 8 steps? I'm trying to.
So rusty. Yeah.
Dude, and dude, I'm all over the place.
Step 3 or 4.
Yeah. I'm skipping stuff, man. Yeah. I'm all over the place. And I was just like, and I realized at that point in time, like, who cares? Let me just care about the client. And so I just went back and asked them some questions, got to know them, talked about their income, went back to the financial inventory and just really kind of made, the life insurance sale palpable, where they could actually take what was intangible and made it real, and painted the picture, went through stuff, but I messed up all of it. Didn't go through the process, didn't go through, who I none of that stuff. And at the end of it, I ended up closing helping the family out. And he said, Paul, he said, last night we prayed because we really didn't know what to expect. We sent this request in. We didn't know who you were. We've had people over before for different things that kind of left us the sour mouth with just people coming over. And they said, but we just want to thank you because you were authentic and you just seem like you really do care about us. And that's what they said. Dude, I butchered the whole 8 steps. After I left, I thought I didn't go through this. And what I realized is, does that help you a little bit? Yeah, maybe get you from a 70% close ratio to maybe 85, 90. But if you could just help care about the family, that's everything. I'm the one that came up with the 8 steps.
Everything.
And I missed the whole thing. So it's like, man, I'm trying to get this thing going. I butchered the whole thing. So if you just care, man, that's all this, what you're talking about is just learning to care more, learning to serve more. And if you build your business and you seem successful, but the foundation isn't built in significance, when things come, it'll fall. But if it's built in significance, which is just putting others first, valuing them, sharing, that you love them, you care about them, that you want them to win. And that's expressed with the time, the challenging that you provide for them, the empowerment that you give them. Man, it's going to be built and it'll be built to last. And so, Hemati, I appreciate you joining today, man. Anything you want to
brother.
As we, it's Monday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everybody's going out there to crush this week. Anything you want to give them as we wrap up today?
Yeah, man. Put others first. The big picture in life is not a self-portrait, man. Just put others first and get after it.
Awesome. Hey, man, thank you so much, Hemati, for being on, dude. Great work. And thank you for the example that you're providing, dude. The reality is this: when you go out and get to $1.5 million that fast, I know it makes a difference for you and your family. And I'm sure it's had a great financial impact on what you're able to do for your family, your kids, or what. But dude, the reality is it makes such a big difference for everybody. Like I'm better because of you. Somebody that's just joining Family First Life is better because of you. They believe more in what they themselves and what they can do because of you. So thank you so much for setting the standard and continue to go out there and press it and grow it, man. So I appreciate you, brother. All right, guys, make it a massive week. Stay strong. Be steady.
That's humbling, man. Thanks.
You got it, man. Take care, guys. See you. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Hillary with Family First Life West Coast. I'm here to draw the winner for the $250 lead credit. Make sure you're commenting every morning on our podcast. And here we go. All right, Nathan, you are the winner. So reach out to Victoria Serrano to get your $250 of lead credits. Have a great day.